And we are all set up and ready to go. Alright, so hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume and get right into it. So when we last left off, we were over on Fulgora, and we were doing all sorts of stuff with our quality production. And we had this whole setup here, and it is barely working technically. It doesn't work stably over the long term because we have excesses occasionally, but it is kind of working. So we've got that. And what we need for this is we just need this to produce a whole bunch of legendary red circuits so that we can take them and bring them back to Novice, where they get turned into quality modules and also productivity modules. We need both. Now, we are already low on modules as it is, and we want to be eventually producing this thing, not here in the middle of the ocean. We're going to find some island to put it on. But this is going to be our sort of hopefully final module setup, and it's gonna take an enormous amount, but hopefully that will be something. And so now we've got all of these guys just going through. How is our scrap supply? Scrap supply is still looking pretty great, and none of it is getting jammed or anything. It's all getting sorted successfully, so that's all good. And then presumably most of it is just being recycled and thrown away at the moment. Like we see here at the gear wheels. It's not a good day to be a gear wheel. And that's probably true for most of these things. They're just sort of constantly destroying all of them. So, what we need to do is we need to get... We just need to get this to keep running, honestly. Like, that's the main obstacle is this setup here. There's not much that we can do to upgrade it, at least manually. Like, there aren't really changes we can make, because it's just waiting on the modules. So once it gets all of its modules, then that will be that. Until then, we're just sort of stuck waiting. And it is what it is. So that's going through. The green circuits are getting mostly... We have too many legendary green circuits at this point. So that's, I guess that's a good problem to have, but it's the legendary red circuits which we need. And this can jam on occasion if these boxes get overfilled, because this wasn't designed perfectly. So I guess let's spend some more time thinking about how we fix that. So the problem is we get too many of one thing and not enough of the other. And the way to solve that... So the current way we're solving that over here in our new design is we just have these long belts in here. And those can just, like, let them buffer more without jamming anything. And then hopefully that should let things equalize over time. We might also want to do some sort of way of like looping these out and back, but I don't know how that is going to work exactly. Or alternatively, we might just need some way of destroying the excess if there is an excess of one or the other. It is kind of... All of our problems are being caused by the fact that this recycling is like not consistent, and also the way that it outputs things isn't necessarily consistent either. Like sometimes it just outputs a whole bunch of regular green circuits, and then other times a whole bunch of non-regular green circuits. Okay, so it's all just going. And transport platform, we have you over Fulgora, so we can drop down some more modules, and that will get that accelerated a little bit. And then you can just immediately run back to Novice, where hopefully this is going well. We have 8 of these, and we actually have almost a red circuit backlog. Not quite, but something sort of adjacent to it. We have some in here. Okay, so can we just make these beacons legendary speed beacons just so that this goes faster? Oh, I hit the wrong button apparently. So we can make those legendary beacons, which should just get this whole thing to run more quickly if we have enough red circuits. So these are currently 0.41, 0.18, and 0.1. Now they are 0.55, 0.24, and this one hasn't gotten its upgrade yet. But it's going, and yeah, so now these can produce at full speed. Why are they not? You don't have any quality module 2s. You don't have any quality module 1s. You don't have any red circuits. So yeah, we're back down to red circuit problems again. Completely unsurprising. And it seems like our local supply of legendary plastic might have... No, this is still running properly. So very inefficient, but it is technically doing stuff. Although it's gonna stop doing stuff pretty soon. We really need those coal miners to get improved, or we need to just bring in our legendary plastic from elsewhere. So how's Gleba still doing? You doing fine? You are still producing legendary plastic. You produced a couple thousand, which kind of pales in comparison. That one's produced 10,000 legendary plastic, and these machines here, so these are obviously doing epics, so it's hard to tell exactly, but they've made thousands each, and with like a 25-ish% quality thing, this is just way better than the previous plastic setups. So, Fulgora support, you are the one which collects all those. We have 416 legendary red circuits on the way, and a couple thousand legendary green circuits as well. So that's all good. This is almost fully built. We need 30 legendary quality modules and 2 legendary productivity modules, and then this setup here will be fully functional, at least as good as it'll be. Oh wait, no, that's technically these ones are doing quality cycling as well, which doesn't work because they have speed modules everywhere. Okay, so let's make sure to swap those requests out for legendary productivity modules, which aren't gonna do much because I don't think we have any, but at least can get started on them. Alright, so that is that. And you're all going. And then Fulgora support. So you are receiving EM science packs. That's what you're waiting on. So that's fine. Nothing to worry about there. I wonder, actually, speaking of science, let's check what the main science holdup is. While we're waiting for quality, we might as well start messing with things which don't care at all about quality. Okay, and EM science is currently the main holdup. So, let's refresh ourselves on how exactly that stuff gets made. It's supercapacitors, accumulators, electrolytes, and holmium solution. Okay, so let's just set up... We can just set up an area around here somewhere to make EM science packs in large quantities. So let's see if we can come up with a design for that. Maybe build it down here somewhere. Oh wait, no, don't. We don't want you to run through this area, because then you'll start queuing stuff to actually build that, and I don't want that to get built. I want that to just be a blueprint that we have sitting there for design purposes. Alright, so we're going to get the Spidertron down into this open area, and then we're going to have to start figuring it out. So we need supercapacitors, our batteries, which we can just import directly from trains, green circuits, which are just green circuits. We can grab those from, I guess, recycled down red circuits or whatever. So that's going to be a little bit more work. Alright, so what we want to do is, if possible, we want to create a somewhat scalable design, which mostly means that it has like dedicated inputs and output spots. Also, are you... Why are you not building... Why did you not build that? Is your range terrible? No, your range is fine. I don't know why you didn't place that lightning collector. Or whatever. Alright, so let's just work backwards. Working backwards is always a good way of doing things when you don't have a great plan ahead of time. So we have an EM plant. And don't you carry EM plants? You do. Why? Okay, this is... We noticed this earlier, that drone queuing was very, very slow on Fulgora for some reason. Possibly because of the massive, janky distances involved. Let's see, is that actually the same on Novice? So if we just like pop down a thing, that gets built that gets queued basically instantly, and then it's just a matter of how long it takes. So what if we place it all the way down here, sort of out of the way? It still is basically instant. So there's some weird thing with Fulgora in particular, which is causing the drones to have difficulties. I don't know what that is. It's not like we're short on drone ports or anything. Who knows? Anyways, we have this. You make EM science packs, and can you be productivity moduled? You can. And do you carry those? No. Okay, so that's fine. So then we're going to need, for your inputs, you're going to need to have 2 solid inputs and 2 liquid inputs. So let's have the liquid inputs go like that, and the solid inputs can go like that. And so you are going to be making supercapacitors, and then you are going to be making accumulators. So the accumulators are relatively easy. So now we just need... The numbers here are small, right? So we can just do regular old inserters and not really worry about it. And then have our output over this way. and that should be fine. Okay, so then we want this to connect out that way because that's where the electrolytes are. So we've got both of those in. Then we need to get batteries into both of these and iron plates into this. Alright, so we are going to get, I guess, just... So the batteries are going to be coming straight from the inputs because that's just a thing that we get off the trains. So those will just go like that and into both of those guys. And they get productivity moduled. Oh, those can't get productivity moduled because they're dumb. Right, of course. Okay. Something real weird is going on with the drones here, although I guess those are just because we don't have inserters on the Spidertron, which is fine. So this has all of its inputs accounted for. This one has the batteries accounted for. You need... Okay, we actually need to swap that around a little bit to be clever and save some space. So you can output onto the same side because those two belts don't connect. So you get batteries in, you put the supercapacitors out, and they go into there. Then the accumulators will go up that way, and that will be that. Okay, I think making this as compact as I've made it is going to be a mistake. Because now we need to get green circuits. Yeah, so now we need to get like 3 other things in here, and that's just not going to work. But both of these need batteries and electrolytes, so I want to keep them close. So what if we have them... I don't know. Let's just dismantle this and think again. Maybe we do want to have it so that each individual row can scale up and be expanded individually. That might just be the best way of doing it. So that we don't have to worry about all the other stuff. So this goes in like this. We get another one. The belts just continue up. And we can actually just copy paste you like that. Alright, so now we have our final production line. So then we have over this way, because it also needs the holmiums, or the electrolytes rather. So here we have our supercapacitors. And we can get the Spidertron to stand somewhere else. Alright, so the supercapacitors need to take from the same electrolyte pipe. But they also need batteries. So they are going to have a belt there for the batteries. A belt there for the green circuits. Okay, these just straight up need 4 solid inputs, which means we are going to have to double use some belts in order to get them to work. So you are going to get cut and then just sort of shifted over that way. So you have 4 belts, and then you have to grab in from 3 of them, and then output to the 4th. Okay, so we have something like this. And Then I think we want you to... I want you to be more compact, and I think we actually... No, yeah, we want you to be more compact, like that, and then this is the output belt, so we want this belt to face down this way, and then it connects across into there. So that's the output. That's all sorted. Oh wait, I'm dumb. These need to be one over to the side to allow for the pipe input. So we go like that, and then like that. Okay, so then this can expand. Let's put the lightning collector down there instead. And then these just go up like that, and we're going to get a couple of them. And I guess we'll have to wait and figure out the exact numbers that'll be needed. But we have something like that. So then, that's those. How's transport platform doing? You have even more modules. So let's, I guess, get you up to Fulgora to get some construction going. So this is making the supercapacitors now. So now we need to get the batteries into both. And that is going to be a splitter, which goes like that. Or, wait, no. The batteries don't go directly into here. The batteries go into the accumulators. So let's get the accumulators in then. And actually, can the accumulators just sit here and grab them directly? Yeah, they should be able to. So if we call this the battery belt, then the accumulators can take from that and then take from the iron plate belt, which we'll need to make, and then they will output all the way over to there. And then we can obviously just have a couple of those. So for starters, we're going to have like 2 machines of every type, and then we'll figure out the exact numbers, what they need to be later. And these apparently need to go one higher in order to stack properly. So let's do that. Okay, so next up we have the holmium plates. No, next up let's do the superconductors, because those need to go into here. And those are going to be copper, plastic, holmium plates, and light oil. That's 3 solid inputs and 1 solid output, so you're going to need some space. So we're going to need an output there, an input there, then we get the machine, then we get 2 inputs, and so then we go get all of these in like that. So then this is the output, and you go down this way past that guy and just through into here. And this is the one which needed to have multiple things on a belt. So let's just have that start already. So you go in like that, so you're only taking up half of that belt. And what were you? Oh, right, you were the superconductors. So we get those in, and let's productivity module everything we can. Okay, then you need to have light oil input as well. So we can get that sorted up. And then that is the EM plants check. Next, we need to do the holmium plates. Oh, and let's do the thing where we make a second one of those. Alright, so next up is the holmium plates, which are going into there and there. So those, I believe, are also EM plants, right? No, apparently not. What are they in? Are they chemical plants or something? And we have a bunch of them over here. Oh, it's a foundry, apparently. Okay. Is that the only option? Or is it just the best option? Okay, yeah, it is just the best option, but we're still just going to do that, obviously. Because you always want to use fancy machines when given the chance. So, foundry goes in there. And you have holmium plate input. So you need to just have a pipe like that, and a belt like that, and an output there, and productivity modules. Okay, so then this needs to go into one of these. So you go around into that, and then you also split and go around into this. So now you have your holmium plates and everything. So you're all set up. So the only thing this is missing in terms of production are the green circuits and the electrolytes. And let's do electrolytes next, I guess. Are those also going to be in EM plants? Yes, and they take holmium solution. So that is good that we built that here. So we get our pipe there. And then you... Okay, so you're a little bit complicated, so we're going to have to pipe the... We're going to have to pipe the heavy oil. Actually, how is this going to work? How are we going to make a whole line through... Okay, actually, no. What we need to do is we need to pipe the holmium solution vertically through this, and then we can have the other two inputs on the sides. So, we take that out, we get a pipe input there, then we get our EM plant. And you also need stone somehow. You also have to get stone in here. Oh wait, no, this is the holmium solution, so this can actually just be... This can actually just be directly adjacent to that. So you go like that. And so that attaches up to the holmium pipe. Then the oil goes along this way. And the stone input goes into here. And then the electrolyte solution comes out this way. And you are going to need to be set up properly to have multiples of you, because it's not quite as simple as most of the others. So then that goes across, that gets connected up. And is that everything? Yeah, that should be everything. So now we just need to get this over into this pipe. So you go down this way, over a whole bunch. underground there. Keep going along. And then underground one more little bit. And in. Alright, so that should be holmium, or that should be electrolyte done. Now we need to do the holmium solution, which is that in a chemical plant? I think that's in a chemical plant, or maybe a cryogenic plant can do it. Let's see, cryogenic plant. Holmium solution, no holmium solution here. So just a regular old chemical plant then. So we get you in, and you are going to be making holmium solution. Is that right, that can only be made in a regular old chemical plant? Where are you? You can't, you're not in that thing, so you're gonna have to go into here to find it. And yes, it is just chemical plant. Alright, cool. Just gotta make sure that I'm not missing anything. Alright, so you have 2 solid inputs and a liquid input, and then you have a liquid output. So your output is just gonna connect up like that, and then your input is gonna go along this way. And like that, you get 2 different length inputs onto there. So now we can copy paste you up again, and that is that set up. So now we have to get the holmium solution in. So this wait, no, this is the wrong pipe, isn't it? That was the electrolyte pipe. Yeah, I was going to say, that shouldn't be connected up to that. You connect up to there. This pipe is the one which needs to connect up to all the holmium solution stuff. So you go along that way and connect into there. And then we also need to get you way the heck down there, which is pretty dang far, but we just drag the pipe along and in. Alright, holmium solution, check. So, let's see, which items have we not done yet? So you've got all of your inputs are in. This has holmium plates, superconductors, and it needs batteries and long-handled. It needs batteries and green circuits. And this belt in particular needs to be batteries. Okay, let's just have that just go all the way across there, because that's just going to be a direct input from the trains. So then you have green circuits as your last input that you need. And those, I believe, can be made in EM plants. Or wait, no, we're actually going to be recycling for green circuits, right? Because we were just going to take in red circuits or whatever. Alright, so let's get all the machines done before we do any recycling. So everything that comes in via an EM plant or an assembler or whatever, let's get those done. So we have batteries first. Batteries are done. Green circuits are recycled. All the rest of those things are done. You need iron plates, which we're going to get by recycling some stuff. You have copper plates, plastic, holmium plates, and light oil. Okay, so we need to get the light oil into the EM plants. And those are going to be chemical plants, which, okay, we need to make them not only connected to the water pipe. We need to give them some space to connect to other stuff. So you are heavy oil to light oil. So you take a pipe from there, and you take a pipe from there, and then you output your light oil, which just goes down. And then this whole thing, obviously, we can just stack easily, like so. Although it will involve running that belt up. So then this light oil needs to get over to this. So let's start bringing that along and see what happens from there. So I think we're going to want some of these guys to turn into lengthy underground belts. So if we go there, we connect to that. If we go, okay, so this needs to be an underground belt like so. Or underground pipe, obviously. It's not a belt. But that lets you go along without connecting and then just barely squeeze in to that. Alright, so then heavy oil is just brought in from the ocean. So that's done. So we need water, which is done by melting ice cubes. So we get ice melting. And you output to water. And you get a belt input. And a bulk inserter. So then this... Are these two guys the only ones that need water? I think so. So you just come along this way. And then connect up to there. So ice, you just import from the train system. Heavy oil, we just get from a pipe. So you need holmium ore and stone. Is stone one of the things that we get from scrap recycling? What do we get from scrap recycling? Someone please... Where is that? So that's up here. We do get stone directly from scrap recycling. Okay, so that's fine then. So those two are done. We're just going to sort of bring them down to there to indicate that this one is done. So all these long belts mean that the input there is just like a direct input off of the train system, and there's no more work to be done. So we do that one again. That one's sorted out. That is sorted out. Right, so we need to get these in. So you have your holmium plates, but you need your copper and your plastic. You need your iron. You need your green circuits. So, low density structures give copper and plastic when recycled. So we will get those in. And this is going to be a bit of a complex thing. And the setup is already pretty long, but it's going to have to probably just be longer so that we don't mess with our scalability stuff. So we get you in, and you are going to be taking in low density structures, which goes like this, and then you're going to be outputting copper and plastic, right? Go to low density structures, and low density structure recycling is copper and plastic and a little bit of steel. So we've got our belt here, which we bring out, and you are going to need to sort. So you filter out steel first, then you filter out plastic, and the rest is copper. So the steel needs to, actually we'll have the steel go this way. So the steel needs to go into a self-recycling setup to be destroyed, which sure would be easier if there weren't all this annoying terrain in the way. Can we actually just get the Spidertron over here to dismantle some of this junk? And also we need to get lightning collectors in, actually, so that whatever just randomly gets built here isn't completely obliterated. Alright, so lightning collectors are in. Spidertron can get them placed. And now this area should be covered. So we have you. You filter out the steel to the other direction. And so then these guys... Steel recycling is just... It gives steel back, right? It doesn't give iron plates. Yeah. So you just need to go in like that. And then input priority left. And then this all gets set up. And that should be all we need for you. So that should just destroy the steel, and we might need to increase the size of this, but it should be fine. Otherwise, we actually have to care about the ratios for the low density structures. So this outputs 5 copper plates every time, and 1.25 plastic bars. And are you the one who needs them? You need the same amount of copper plates and plastic bars. So we're going to need to destroy a bunch of excess copper plates. So we get an overflow here, and that will just go over to another one of these setups, and you just go into that. That destroys the excess copper plates, and so now we have our plastic and our copper, and those go along this way. And they just run all the way over to here, right? That's these 2 input belts. Okay. So this just comes along and then goes up. These belts, these pipes can go underground a little bit more. Well, that connects up. And this connects up. Okay. Plastic and copper, check. Something is getting built here on Fulgora, and I'm not sure what. Somehow... Okay, wait. Somehow they're, like, detecting this area down here and doing some weird wobbly thing. Okay, I have no idea what's going on with all that. We're just going to ignore that for now. Okay, so we have our... So the point is we have our copper and our plastic now. So now the only thing we need is the iron plates and the green circuits, I believe. So, green circuits... If we crunch down... What's the most direct way of doing this? What is the most direct way? So, green circuit gives us like 1/4 of an iron plate. Gear wheels, maybe? Although, if we have... Are we just going to be importing green circuits here no matter what? No, it's going to be gear wheels are going to be the simplest, I think. Just simply because we won't have to deal with any alternative outputs from them. So, we can just grab that, pop you in like that. Probably going to need to place another lightning protector over there once that one gets dismantled. So then you take in gear wheels, and you output all the way over here. And we need to get that fixed up as well, so that this doesn't interfere with any of the other belts. Where are you going? You're going all the way over to the accumulators, I believe. So you come over to here, and then up and in. Okay. Of course, the fog of war happens. Can we just have the Spidertron stand, like, central-ish? So we've got gear wheels go into there. We've got low-density structures go into there. We've got ice cubes go into there. We have... what are these? Stone and holmium goes into here. Stone and holmium go into there. And we have this one is... oh, this is more stone? Yeah, that's more stone. So we can get a splitter onto you. So stone goes into there. And then batteries go into there. And then I think theoretically that is everything. Okay, so now we just need to get like 500 million trains down here. So we can just belt the holmium, the batteries, and... oh wait, did we ever craft green circuits? How did we ever get the green circuits? I don't remember doing that, actually. Yeah, we haven't actually made the green circuits. Okay, wait, so then... in that case, making these be gear wheels doesn't make sense, right? So if we make these... do we have just direct green circuits out of scrap recycling? I can't remember. Or is it just red and blue? It's just red and blue. Alright, so if we take in red circuits, then that can give us green circuits. Or we could take the copper plates. So we're getting copper plates from, I think, this guy. We're getting excess. So we can actually just take this out, and you will be out with priority right any. This is unbelievably scuffed, but it's fine. So you run up this way, and you go into a row of EM plants that make copper cable, which are going to be there. And you make copper cable. And then we have a row, so then your output just goes over this way. And then we have a row of EM plants there, which are going to take that, make green circuits, and they will also be taking any excess iron plates from here, so output priority will be to the right, probably. And so this goes over there, and then this one goes down to connect into that. And then you get another input and an output. And we're gonna run out of space horizontally on this island. But it's fine, we can just use like a tiny amount of foundations to get it done. So then this belt runs along this way and then comes down, and then we just belt you all the way over here, and then you go up into that, and just like so. Okay, so that is everything. And now we just need to get all the inputs. So from left to right, we have gear wheels. So we need to, I guess we will grab the items from here first. So we are going to get a turbo splitter just somewhere on that, and bring this down. And we don't want to go too far down immediately. We want to sort of loop around the edge so that we don't take up space within where we might want to expand this to. So we have our holmium ore there. Then we've got our batteries here. And we have various circuits. We have copper wire here, which I guess we could have just imported those, but we had the spare copper anyways, so it's fine. So then we're going to need to add new train stations for the gear wheels, the stone, the ice, and what else? I don't know. It's hard to keep track of everything. So let's get a setup like this. So we're just going to copy paste like this entire blob. And I don't know how many of these we're going to need, but let's grab that many and then paste them down here. And that is already set up so that there are belt lines going into all of these. We're just going to need to swap it so that the belt lines go out. And then we're going to need to change all of these names. So this first one is going to be a gear wheel destination. Actually, we already need low density structures, so we won't swap that one. Then this one, we don't need blue circuits, so you are going to be gear wheels. Iron gear wheels. Gear wheel destination. Not geet wheel. Gear wheel destination. And so some of these guys are going to need, a lot of these guys actually, are going to need to get setups so that they can actually output properly. So we have low densities. We have, and this needs to, oh, this does actually need to be named to destination. We have low density structure destination. We have gear wheel destination. We have not copper cables. We need ice cubes. So you are ice destination. So we've got those first 3 in, we're going to need to run the Spidertron down here, which is going to get a whole lot of stuff start to be built. And then you are currently red circuits, but we need you to be holmium ore, probably. So you are holmium ore destination, and that's that. Then all of this stuff gets built as well. Okay, this does need to be stone. So you are stone destination, and then we have batteries down here, and you get to be battery destination. So now we need to run around and get all of the rest of this stuff built in properly, which is not easy. There's a lot of building to do. And we're also going to need to get this connected up to the drone network. So just something like that ought to do. And then the power poles get connected across as well. And then the power poles go all the rest of the way up to there. And now everything is probably going to be getting built in. So let's fill over the rest of this stuff so that all of this can be in drone ports. And so these guys aren't connected up properly because we haven't gotten the foundation over to here yet. Also, we need some lightning collectors to keep all that stuff safe, which I believe we're now good to go. So now this is all theoretically connected, but we need these power poles to go in. So you are connected and charging up. You are charging up. And then we get all this stuff. And this is going to be a big, giant building project, but it should get there eventually. I'm not sure why there's a line of accumulators in here. It's probably fine. So the drone ports are doing drone port things, including at a bunch of places which don't actually have power, which is a bit of an issue. But hopefully they'll figure that out eventually when this gets all properly connected up. Okay, now we need to figure out, so this is low density structures. We need to rotate all of these. And that is going to be just a question of doing it once and then copy-pasting it to the others. So this gets all flipped around. And one more. Okay, now we get the belts rotated around. And up like that. Then this one goes up like that. And like that. Then the splitters go, and the first couple of belts go. Now we copy paste that area, and we get it going for all of these so that they're all facing the right way. Okay, so that's all built up. We still need to get these power poles placed in. A whole bunch of drones just decided to sort of spontaneously leave all at once. Let's see if we can get some of these electrical poles built in by the Spidertron. No, it doesn't have any electrical poles with it at the moment. Okay. It's gonna take a bit, but it looks like they've been assigned. Okay, so now that guy is done. And now we're just waiting on all of these drone ports to get connected up properly. And the Spidertron is now receiving replacements, as are all of these guys. We still need that stuff to get built. Alright, while that's cooking, let's drop those modules down and bring transport platform over to Novice. Then, actually, how is Novice doing for its modules? You have 36 qualities and 9 productivities. Pretty decent. Could be much worse. And we've almost got this power grid connected up properly. Actually, this one had... Oh, it's because of the lightning collectors and everything within here that these guys are occasionally powered. So hopefully these actual roboports get built in and powered up soon. We just need like a couple more power poles. Like I think literally just that one, and this whole area should get connected up. So hopefully that happens quickly. There we go. So now this is all connected up to the main grid, or at least it will be once that's online. And there we go. The number of things that are currently registered as missing is still very high. Maybe Spidertron can help a little bit. Like that. Okay, now everything looks... It looks like most things are queued up, at least. And... oh, there's also this section up here, which is just now getting connected. And we need just like one more roboport over that way to get just the very far edges of this whole thing. Okay, so now we have things getting assigned. We're 88 bulk inserters short. Does Fulgora support bring bulk inserters automatically? It carries them. Does the cargo landing pad all the way up here request those? It requests them 50 at a time, which is not a huge amount, but it should get there eventually. So they're on their way, so that'll happen eventually. And now we just need... Apparently we have some lack of lightning coverage down there, so let's get that in. Let's get another one over there as well, just for security. And we can run the Spidertron down to get those placed in quickly. Okay, so now the whole area is covered from lightning, and we just have to get all these ridiculous construction drones charged up and in the clear. Okay, so now we connect these up. So this is the low density structure output. So you need to go over this way, up there, and this is where you're going. So you can tell because it's the one which has to deal with various byproducts. So that connects across that way. Low density structures, check. Then we have gear wheels next. So that's this one. which goes up that way, and then over here, and I assume it's this one, probably. Yeah, 'cause that is the one which makes iron plates for a couple different purposes. So you can get attached in. Then we have ice. So that's this one. And we get you flipped around to face the right way. And ice just goes into that. So we need you to go up this way, over here, and then we need that underground belt to expand a little bit, that one to go in a little bit, and then that connects up. Okay, so that should be all set. Meanwhile, transport platform has rocket launches incoming. So that's fine. You're still waiting on that, but we have our ice cubes connected up. Next up, we have the holmium ore. So this comes over this way, all the way up here. And then the holmium ore goes in this belt, I assume. It's just for that one task. So you come over this way. And, oh, don't disconnect that power pole. That's important. So you need to, I guess... This roboport is very much going to be in the way, no matter what we do. So we need you to sort of wrap around like that, and then this input needs to sneak past that. So that's going to be the stone input there. Also, did I miss one? What is this? No, this one is holmium. Oh, but I grabbed the one underneath the holmium. Dang it. Alright. We're gonna have to fix that, obviously. Okay. So that connects across just fine. Some random underground belts here that I don't understand why they exist. Alright, so this is the one which has to connect up to here. And you go in like that. This is a different thing entirely. It is the stone. Okay, it's actually not that different. It's the one which goes into this. So that is stone attached. Our bulk inserters seem to have shown up. So those should be delivered in pretty soon. Okay, so we have holmium check, stone check. We have one more down here. And we also apparently need to get a drone port. So this is the batteries. And then we're going to have to check to see if we need additional train stations or if this is all. We're going to need to chop some of these belts back a little bit. Alright, so this is the batteries, and they go in, I believe, just over here. So you need to sort of wrap around and then go underneath all those belts. And then you just run over this way and up into there. Okay, so are there any inputs that we are missing? I don't think so. Do I see any belts that just sort of dead end? No? Okay, so let's assume that that is correct then. And now what we need to do is we need to get this connected up to the main line, and then we need to get all the trains to visit here. So let's run down here, get some lightning coverage because that is way too close to not have it. Then this train, that train line runs along like that, and that connects up to there. Do the same thing over here, just expand that out a little bit, and then get you to connect up to it. And we're going to have to run the Spidertron over there to assign those. There we go. Again, this is weirdly close to not have lightning coverage, so let's get that. So now we have the problem where the inputs and outputs of these are facing the wrong way. So we're just going to have to grab you, flip you around, and bring you up this way. And grab you, flip you around, bring you up this way. Okay, so this side here is the input side. So it needs to go in like, which direction is this facing? Do these guys even have signals? Technically, yes, they do have signals. All right, so this is the output side of this. So if we want this to be connected up, then it would be you would go out to there, and you would go out to there. And those conveniently both end right before signal, so let's get that signal upgraded. Let's get that signal upgraded. Let's get the Spidertron to run around and help with some of this stuff in the meantime. So that can all get built up. While all that stuff gets built. So you are waiting on cliff explosives, probably. So there. You are trying and failing to assign stuff to those spots. So we just need those cliff explosives to make it down here. Presumably that's the main holdup at this point. There we go. So now that can all be built. And then all this stuff is going to be a work in progress, but we can just pop in a... Oh wait, no, you are a train signal, not a chain signal. So you go into there. Okay, so that is that side connected up. Then we have this side, which we just need... We actually need to adjust this a little bit. So chop you a couple of tracks back so that you can run out around this way. So you don't have to be in the way of all these guys. And then you are the output. So you need to go in like... not backwards. You go in like that, and then out like that, but there's nothing over there, so we're not going to do that. All right, let's get the Spidertron over here to do some building. And all the stuff can get placed. And then the Spidertron runs up this way to get all this stuff in. And, okay, this stuff has all been assigned, so that's fine. So that will get long-distance trains coming along to help it. So, this is now connected up. This is now connected up. So now all we need to do is get the trains set up for all of this stuff. And we need to keep bringing the transport platform back and forth every so often. We're somehow still some modules short of being done with this setup over here, which I would have thought we would be doing well by now. It is still running though, and it's running pretty well. Like, that's a lot of epic quality blue circuits that just happen to be coming out at this moment. So it's still going well. We are definitely producing stuff. And over here, actually, we have run out of legendary blue circuits. Okay. And that's because these guys aren't getting enough supply. So they need like 3 legendary green circuits, and this produces theoretically more than enough. Oh, but we're actually short on legendary iron. Okay, so let's swap this out because we have like an infinite supply of legendary green circuits from Fulgora, so we can just pop those into here, and then this will be input priority right. So that should supply those, and then this will just have to supply this local production of all that stuff. Alright, so that is in, those are in, now the requester chest is in, and we need a power pole. So that should give us all the green circuits that we need. We have like 10,000 available. And then it'll just be this doing its supply of legendary red circuits for these machines. And that power pole didn't connect, apparently. It's always gotta be careful that they go as far as you think they do. Okay, let's set that up to request 400 at a time, just so that the output isn't too low. And then let's also just do that so that... Wait, no. We want to do the opposite of that. We want this to output onto the same side of the belt as this, so that this doesn't run and take our legendary iron. So what actually happened to our legendary iron supply? Did it just get slowly burned through? Yeah, it's still running, we just eventually burned through it all, so that's fine. So this should keep all that stuff going, and then... Do we actually just disable you and just rely on the Fulgora stuff for green circuits entirely? I think that's the plan. We will get that up. Taking a while for that to be dismantled, actually. Don't know why. I wonder if we're getting into a big enough factory that just straight up lag is now a problem. That's very possible. So that is all in. That should provide all the green circuits that we need. And we don't need both of these now, we just need the one. So this produces legendary blue circuits. And that's currently like the main limiting factor here. And we actually have quite a couple hundred spares. So do we need to speed these guys up? Let's get some legendary speed beacons in here if we can squeeze them in. I guess it'll just be replacing those efficiency beacons. So we get that in, and now these guys should be extra fast. And then let's get a requester chest in here for legendary red circuits. And then that can get popped in. So that should provide enough power for these to be extra fast. So now, yeah, this is not even close to how fast it was before. So that should hopefully be able to keep up now if our red circuit supply is keeping up. And then that passive provider chest there needs to not exist because it would just create a loop then, which wouldn't be very useful. Okay, so that's now going, and should all be fine. Making blue circuits at a fast rate, which means we're making modules at a fast rate. Okay, so now let's head back over to Fulgora where we were doing design stuff. So we have this connected up to the train network, but we don't currently have any trains that actually want to go here. And also these guys are going to need power poles. So let's get that all in. Just so that it's not sitting here blinking all the time. So we just sort of need a power pole just every so often to make sure that all these guys are powered up. And that one needs... we need to make sure that we actually catch everything in our power poles and not miss anything. So that could go down to there, and then I guess into there, and then across up to here. These are so weirdly spaced, like, in terms of vertical. And this machine didn't even get connected up to inserters. So you get an inserter, you get an inserter, and you get an outserter, potentially two, and then those get connected up, and that should be everything powered now. Apparently it isn't. Oh, this whole thing didn't get connected back over there. Okay, so the train stuff. We need to get all of these guys... oh, we made these belts, which we didn't end up using. That's fine. So all of these guys have these trains here, which we need to connect in to these guys, basically. So we need to get this. So this is the input. So the trains go that way. And over here, the trains go that way. So we need to take from that and up over to there. And then we take from here down to there. And then we are going to need... we're going to need signals for all this, but we'll worry about that later. For now, we just have to get all of these in basically the same way, right? So we get you up over into there. Then we get you down and out into there. And apparently we have... apparently that belt managed to barely sneak out of lightning protector range. So let's get that fixed. So that's holmium ore, that's batteries. Then blue circuits, red circuits, copper wire, none of those are used in this setup. So then we go over here, that's solid fuel, which we can skip. This is low density structures. And we just need to do this same setup here, right? Where it just crosses over like that. For some weird reason. There's not much space to do this. So we definitely need you to branch out, whatever way you're going, you need to branch out before the intersection. So you need to go somewhere like that, and then I guess into there. And then this one just connects down to there. And that will be that for low density structures. Then we need to find, these are the gear wheels. So we get, oh, this is a mess. This is an absolute mess, but it's fine. So you go up to there, and you go across and into there. Probably, I really wish I had designed these particular stops better, but it is what it is. Go up here, this is the stone, and these guys are flipped, so the trains go there, but it's still this connection goes into there, and you need to curve away immediately so that you don't go through the intersection. Then you go down that way, and then this is the output, which meets up with that belt nice and easily. Okay, then steel we don't need to worry about now, thank goodness. Then over here we've got concrete, which we don't need to worry about, although it might be broken. And where are the ice cubes? Are these the ice cubes? Yeah, here are the ice cubes. So we get, this was the same setup here, right? So you, wait, are you connected up? Yes, ice cubes are already connected up. I've done that previously. So we need, first of all, is the ice destination, you're labeled wrong. You should be labeled ice cube destination. And that will just give you a train right out the gate. But now we need each of these guys to have trains. So you get a train, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, each of these guys needs a train, so let's get those built. And they all go in like this. And I wonder if we have enough trains to do this. Apparently we are missing one. It's awkward. Hopefully it'll show up. I believe someone brings those. Let's drop down those modules that we have. Does Fulgora support bring trains? Yes, it does. Very cool. So that'll just show up eventually. And then we need all these guys to get built. So that could take a while because of how annoyingly slow the drones are. We really need to just move the landing pad from here just all the way over to probably in here somewhere. Somewhere there is nice and central. So that we just don't have to constantly bring things all the way across this massive gap. Okay, so the trains getting built? Yes, here they come. Alright, so this is the holmium ore. So you get to be assigned to the holmium ore group where whatever that is. Holmium ore. And you... Okay, we need to name all these stations, right? So this is the holmium ore. You are going to be named holmium ore source. If we can find you, there we go. Holmium ore source. And then you are going to be battery source. Do you not have a station? Okay, it looks like the station here got cut out somehow. So we're gonna have to get that in. So this, we need it to be aligned properly, so I guess we just grab all of that. Then you get lined up like so. But then you are going to be battery. Actually, you can be that, but then be called battery source. And then that just needs to connect up to this whole row here, which it's very much not cooperating with. What's going on here? Just a whole bunch of drones going down. Alright, so we are going to need to dismantle all that stuff. You get a ramp just right there. And then you get attached up. You can go a little bit further down to make that easier to make the trip. Okay, so you are battery source, your holmium ore source, and we're going to need to fiddle with the signals in all of these guys, so you get signals there, and then we get signals after those. There and there, so that's all set up. And then this needs to get a chain signal, I think. I don't know, something like that. Then we need to get you in. So there and there get chain signals. And you get rail signals. Wait, no, this is backwards, isn't it? Yes, so you need a chain signal there and a rail signal down here. Meanwhile, you are going across that way. Okay, I think those signals are all properly in now. And transport platform can go back to novice in preparation for another trip. And now you need that chain signal to get placed, right? Okay, so that should be fine when we get there. And then this thing over here, you also need a chain signal there. I really should have designed these blobs better, but it is what it is. Okay, we're still losing a whole bunch of drones on Fulgora. That's fine. They can figure themselves out eventually. I guess we will get the Spidertron to start just plopping down lightning collectors in this general vicinity. So that is going to be something like this. And now we just have to get the Spidertron to run around and place all of them. And we do not want to be losing drones, because the drones are frequently carrying things, and those things might be expensive. Alright, so that all gets placed in. Apparently we need some cliff explosives for that one, which will take a little bit. And then we should be mostly in the clear now for that. So that's all sorted out. Okay, so you're going to be the battery group. So you get to be battery group, and then you get to go from battery source to battery destination. You go to the source until full, you go to the destination until empty, and off you go. And you are Holmium, so you're the other one which we have mostly done so far. So you go to destination and source, go to destination until you're empty, you go to source until you're full, and you can run off. Okay, so then we need stone. Okay, ice cubes are another one which are done, right? So we can just add you to the ice cubes list, and then off you go. So we need stone, gear wheels, and low density structures to get set up. Okay, so low density structures, pretty sure those were like over here somewhere. No, these are the ice cubes. Sure. So these are the low density structures. And they need signaling. So you output into this area, you get a chain signal somewhere in that vicinity. Then we get some rail signals for where this crossing happens. So you cross there. Actually, that isn't a real crossing. This is the real crossing. So that's a signal, that's a signal, then you get a signal there and a signal there. Alright, so that should be that, and then this is going to be low density structure source. Low density structure source. There you go. And then we've got not you. Okay, then we have gear wheels. So gear wheels, we've got this crossing here. You need a chain signal. You need a chain signal. And then we need rail signals to be there. And I guess that just sort of goes directly through, so that should be fine. And then this gets to be called gear wheel. It gets to be called gear wheel source. Like that. And you are still not happy. That chain signal there is definitely part of the problem. So we just need to get those signals placed in, then you should be fine. And then we go up here to stone, and we have this crossing here, which gets chain signals prior to it, and block signals after it. And then we get a chain signal up there somewhere. And that should be everything, I think. So you are... Oh wait, now I have to label the stone. I have to label the station. So that is this one over here. gets to be stone source. Okay. So now I think we just give these their recipes. So you get to be stone train, stone, like that. Then you get stone source, stone destination, source until full, destination until empty, and off you go on automatic mode. Then we've got this one up here for gear wheels, and you will be gear wheel, gear wheels, and then you go gear wheel source and gear wheel destination, source until full, destination until empty, and off you go. Okay, then finally we've got this one up here for the low density structures. So, low density structures. Low density structures, like that, and then you get to go source and destination, source until full, destination until empty, and off you go. Alright, that is theoretically everything. And then the only things we need are, we need our heavy oil input offshore pipe. So we get an offshore pump. You can just go in, I guess you could just go in there in that tiny little scrap of apparently offshore. So then this runs up to here and connects in like that. So that should provide the heavy oil. And then we are just waiting on all the rest of this stuff to show up. And is our scrap recycling still running? It is still running. The trains might have a bit of traffic, but that's fine. They're loading up super fast anyways. So that should be all clear. We have stone going in now. Here's gear wheels. And the low density structures are appearing as well. So that should be everything. And we also need these heavy oil. We also need all these pipes to get built, which looks like they're showing up now. And we don't have any of those missing. Alright, so transport platform is at 5 and 46. So you can head back to Fulgora. I feel like we've been just a couple productivity modules away from finishing all that off for ages now. This is still running, right? Yes, it's still running and still outputting. Okay, so now this looks like it has everything. And now we just have to wait for it to all warm up. And we should see... Yeah, so green circuits are coming out and going along. We should start seeing some items go onto this. Okay, wait, did we not... Right, we need to connect you up to the heavy oil residue as well. So you need to come along like that. It's not heavy oil residue, by the way, it's just heavy oil. Heavy oil residue is a satisfactory thing, I think. So that attaches in like so. And we just need all of those to get built. And I don't No, I can't imagine the Spidertron will help at this point. But those all get built, and then we will get our electrolytes, and those are possibly the only thing we're waiting on. We're also waiting on copper plates. So that's going to take... The copper plates are going to take a while to fill up, because we need to basically cap out this whole green circuit production line first, before the spare copper plates go over this way. So is this wrong? So this is going to output priority here, but then it's going to immediately destroy it. Alright, so this copper plate setup is incorrect. You actually need to be output priority right, which I guess is fine, because it'll mean that we get this stuff jump-started first, and now we can get all this going. So that's all running. And we're starting to see electrolytes. Starting to get those in. And now we're just going to have to start thinking about... We want to get productivity modules in as many of these as can accept them for resource efficiency reasons. None of the recyclers, obviously, but all you guys can get them. And then, from there, we then figure out what our limiting factors are. And then we just start expanding those out. And there's one more thing that we need, which is we get a rocket silo right there. And then this becomes an output belt, which goes down this way. And it just goes directly in to the rocket silo, which also gets a request for all the rocket silo things that it needs. And that's going to be these two plus blue circuits. So we get those. And then the rocket silo can get productivity moduled, because why not? And then we'll give it a speed beacon as well. Again, mostly just because we can. And then all of that stuff gets powered. And we should be good to go. So that's all in. These guys are working, but they're low on supercapacitors. These guys are low on holmium plates because I messed up and tried to put too many things in there. So the holmium plates, the green circuits go on that. The holmium plates go over there. I don't know how I managed to put 3 things onto the same belt, but I guess it's fine. So now those go around, and we should get everything all sorted out. So there we go. And you are running. You need that pipe to be finished. Alright, we're just sorting out some bug fixing stuff over here. Meanwhile, transport platform can drop down some more modules and get those going. We have all the quality modules we need for Fulgora. We're just missing some of the productivity modules, but we're also going to need way more quality modules when we do eventually build this thing, so that's something to look out for. If we even need to. So this is short on you. Alright, yeah, so we do still need more red circuit input. That is probably just going to be a constant forever. And now we've got this thing going, which should provide our EM science demand without having to rely on the old factory at all. So currently, currently we seem to have enough of everything, and it's just a question of the speed. So let's move the Spidertron over here to see if it can help with this. So we are going to pick you up and replace you with a speed beacon. Just a regular speed beacon, I think, should be fine. And then you can go in like that. And that should help increase our output. So that all gets built up over time. And the Spidertron doesn't carry beacons or inserters. And it looks like we're going to need these guys as well once those speed beacons go in. So we're producing 0.2 per second. And we're using 0.1 per second, but once that speed beacon goes in, that's gonna spike up dramatically. How long is it till those speed modules show up? Yeah, okay, let's actually just do this now. So this whole array here, needs to be copy-pasted, I think. Like, I don't know how much of the wires are necessary, but like we need something like this, because we need the drone port to get all that stuff. So now this comes down here, and can we just... Alright, so we're going to build all of this. I'm going to build all of this in, and I'm going to put it up. Where do we want to say that was nice and central? Like here, maybe? How about in here, actually? This seems like a good spot. So you go in there, and we can't obviously build the new drone port until the new space launcher thing until we get the old one in. Now our train has gotten lost. Why are you lost? You are the battery recycler. Did I put... Yes, it's because of that chain signal placed on the wrong side of the tracks. Okay, problem solved. No big deal. So, did this... Has this gotten built yet? Still a work in progress, and it needs to be powered. So, once that all gets built, we're going to head up to here. And this cargo landing pad doesn't currently have anything in it. So, we should be able to take you out and then rebuild you down here. And you will just be going in like that. And hopefully the planet doesn't explode. Hopefully they can find somewhere to put that cargo landing pad to bring it over. It still says one entity missing. Okay, no, it found it. The new cargo landing pad is now being brought over. And this hopefully will make a big difference. It's tough to say for sure, but I don't think it should cause huge problems. Alright, so that's all going. And everything is here. All the trains are here except for the low density structures, which I assume we probably just don't have as many of those or something. Who knows? So this is going. And you are currently fluid ingredient short. And this is, by the way, making 1.4 EM science per second, whereas this one is doing 1.6, just because it's got a lot of good beacons by it. So let's extend that pipe up a little bit, then grab this whole Oh, wait, no. You're fluid ingredient short because that pipe needs to get extended up. So we can do that. And then we can grab this whole block and copy-paste it up twice. So this should be well more than we realistically need in terms of EM science production. So we can do that. And it's just going to take a while for all that stuff to get built. And this top one, apparently, I don't know why those didn't get placed. We can get those in. And yeah, the drone port lag on this is so incredibly high. Alright, so this is set up again. You have that. You somehow lost... Oh, right, you lost connection to, like, that. Set requests. Okay. So I think everything is functional here. We should be all set up to not have to bring new things all the way across the entire planet every single time we do anything on this half. So all of our inputs should come from here now. And then these are all the Pat Provider chests, which should do that work. And then we also want to have our primary rows of storage chests down here as well. We want all those to get brought in eventually. Transport platform, are you doing anything? No, so you can start making another trip. So these will now be like our primary storage chests, hopefully. And we're still going to have all of these storage chests up here until we burn through these supplies, which will be a bit annoying, but they'll get there eventually. Okay, so now we've got these guys mostly in place, and you are short electrolytes, you are short supercapacitors. I wonder which one will actually be the real shortage. Probably electrolytes. Looks like it's electrolytes. Alright, so crazy stuff still happening. And so the electrolytes over here, these are producing 4 electrolytes per second. These guys take 1. These guys take like 20 billion each. Okay, so that is going to need to be massively upgraded. So we need to get in a beacon. So you get a beacon, then you go up there. Wait, no, this is going to be really awkward actually because of how the electrolytes transport their outputs. So we need to... Wait, no, we can fix this. So if we put the beacon there, then we can pipe across like that. Okay, yeah, that works. And we need to get all that stuff in. You get flipped around. How do we... is that just not possible? To have you facing entirely the right way? Okay, I think... because horizontal flip, you're here... Wait, maybe we rotate? Yes, we rotate and then flip, and then it works. Alright, cool. Problem solved. Weird stuff with machines with funky orientations. So then you connect up to there. You go into there. And that should be all set up. You just need a power pole. And now these are 14 a second each, which will be more than enough for these, but is not going to be anywhere near enough to run all of these guys. So let's just copy paste this whole block up a couple of times, and then we can see what happens there. So those are slowly getting queued in. Very slowly, but it is happening. And apparently we don't have storm coverage up there. So let's plug that gap. And... alright, that lightning collector hasn't been placed, so now it is, and seemingly just in time. Seemingly as soon as we placed that, the lightning storm started. Okay, so this all needs to get built, and this is wrong, actually. The power lines are in the wrong spot, so we need to copy it up like this. And that should get it all functional. There's still going to be these extra underground pipes, which we can just clear out. And then it should be all up and running. So that's 18.9, and it's actively working. This one is getting there still. And... oh, you need to be rotated again, apparently. So... no, wait, this actually just straight up... if we flip you vertically... yes, we need you to go like this, which means that these pipes were actually necessary down here to begin with. Oh, these guys are so annoying to work with. Okay. So... actually, how does this work? I think we need to... okay, I think I know what we can do to make this work. We just need to get you over one more, overlapping the belt, which is fine because underground belts exist. So you go over like that, and you get your speed modules. And then those can connect up like that, and everything is going to be fine now. Once those last couple of pipes get attached in, it should all work. Fucking electrolytes, man. Why can't they just be straight lines through? It would be so much easier. Okay, so, but that's all going. And we're just waiting on those couple of pipes to get in, which hopefully should be any second now. How is our inputs here? We're getting a lot more, at least a little bit more stuff into these chests. It's still very much a work in progress, but it is happening. And it should just continue to go like that. Come on. Random pipes just get placed. Does the Spidertron carry pipes? No, it doesn't. Alright, no, they're all in. Alright. Except for this one. That one we're still waiting on. Hopefully that's this guy coming in here. Yes. So now the electrolytes are all in. And this is like 24 plus 9-ish is like 30 something. So this should be enough electrolytes now. It should be fine. And these guys are like 0.9 each. So that's all going. Now we have the supercapacitor shortage, which I very much expected. So we go over here, and we take you out. So that goes out entirely. You get a beacon with speed modules. Then we copy paste this whole thing up there on the other side of that beacon. And how much of these are we going to need? We're going to need 1.7-ish, which is a ton. We're going to need the modules to show up before we figure out how many machines that is. So that is all in, except for the EM plants and the beacons with the speed modules, which are the important things. Okay, now the beacon is in, and the speed modules should be coming down soon. Hopefully. And now I saw some speed modules, like, in here somewhere, right? We've got 4 speed module 3s in that block. Okay, so now you're up to 0.7. So the 2 of these together are going to be 1.4, which is, like, pretty close, right? So let's just add in... Let's just add in a little bit more up to there, and then that should certainly be enough. The extra beacon and the extra EM plant should have that all covered. And then we'll be draining through some backlogs, probably, of like the accumulators before those probably become the shortage. Or maybe the holmium solution. Yeah, how much holmium solution do we make? So we need like 20... We need like 30-some. 30-some holmium solution for that, and another metric ton up there. These guys are 7 each. So we're definitely going to need to increase this, so let's just get started on that. So that goes out. Beacon in with speed modules. Then this... Actually, this whole thing back to the water gets copied up. And something like that. And I don't know, something like that will probably be good. If we're getting 7 off of a super slow one, then with the modules in, it should be actually really fast. That's the theory, at least. So we just need the beacons to come down. And this should be slowly becoming the center of where all of our stuff is. It's just going to take us continuing to build stuff for that to happen. Okay, so we look over here. This is still running safely. No problems there. Transport platform has more quality modules, but not more productivity modules. So I wonder if something's gone wrong up here. So you have everything you need except for the advanced circuits. The blue circuit demand is still very high, but it is getting dealt with. And then the red circuits we are a little bit low on right now. Alright, that's probably fine. Okay, so let's go back to Fulgora. This is still functioning. And then we can head down here and get a power pole up for that. so that these can both be good. And this one should be extra fast for the Holmium solution, which I assume is currently our limiting factor. So now we have like 60-ish, and that's like 10... 60-ish Holmium solution should be correct, I think. So I guess we'll have to just see if that catches up or not. And it's gonna be a bit hard to tell. But hopefully it will be all good to go. We are filling up the rocket silo a little bit at a time. We've got enough of those. Got enough electrolytes. So the Holmium solution is still the problem. These are working round the clock, right? There's no delays or anything. Okay, yeah, let's just add in another one, just so that we have plenty of excess, so that we don't have this happening. So that will go in, and it'll all get built. And we really need to figure out what's going on with the lag here on Fulgora. Or like, it's not even lag, it's just the drone ports being very, very slow to update. I wonder if it's gotta be something to do with how big and spread out this planet is. But even then, Novice is way bigger, right? Like, Novice is huge. And Gleba isn't... Gleba's a lot smaller, to be fair. Maybe it's just because of how weirdly, like, shaped it all is, with all these sort of narrow connections. I don't know. It's super weird. Super weird. And then that's going to need a power pole up there to get all of that charged. And yeah, Holmium solution still the shortage somehow. I thought 60 some would be enough. Let's get up to 90 some, see how well that works out for us. Alright, so now you are in. You don't have your productivity modules yet, but you do have your speed modules. And we need like one more pipe for you to actually be able to output. There we go, and you even get your productivity modules on time. Okay, so now Holmium solution should start being better off. So we've got a couple runs of that. Is there some other place that this is going? Okay, no, we have 30 there. We've got like 20 here. We've got like 40 here, I guess. I guess that means it is going to be relatively close then. Okay, let's add another 2. We can't actually fit another 2 in super easily. We'll add another 1. That should do it, right? Like, all the math says that that should be enough. So hopefully it will be. And that can just come down and get built. We should probably just work around to getting some stuff over to Vulcanus just so that that can be finished off. Still not getting any productivity modules crafted. That's kind of annoying. Really rather that happen so that this can all get built. We don't even need like a small amount of productivity modules. We need a massive number of them in order to get this setup going. Where is it? This one up here. We need so many modules to build this, and I don't know, the quality modules are kind of coming along nicely. The productivity modules aren't, and I don't really understand why. Like, previously it was the biter eggs that were a shortage, right? But now that's not an issue. Now it's just that the red circuits seem to enjoy going down here more than up there. And to be fair, these aren't getting many red circuits either. Fulgora support is moving 520 some legendary red circuits, which should be a lot, but it isn't apparently. Okay, so now it looks like Holmium Solution is just barely ahead. It's like it's sitting at low numbers, but not zero like it was previously, and it seems like it's slowly ticking up. So that's that done. Now, for the Holmium plates, how many of those do we need? We're making 3. We need, like, 0.2 for these. And we need, like, 3 for these. Okay, so we're going to need more Holmium plates once we get more production of EM, what are these called? Superconductors? Because I can just clearly see that we don't have enough superconductor production. So this is 0.8. These guys need a lot. So let's expand you out. So we're going to dismantle the first one. Then we get a beacon in. Then we need to copy paste this whole blob. Just like that. That should get everything all set up. And I don't know what that crazy delay is. Like, that does not happen anywhere other than Fulgora. We need to Google that at some point, probably. Right, then we get speed modules into the beacon. So then this should accelerate production a lot. And these guys are currently short on superconductors, so that will be necessary. We're also going to need more of these guys. So let's get them upgraded. So you go out, we get a beacon in with speed modules. Then we just copy paste this whole blob up there. And that ought to do it. So that all goes in. These guys are now making like 5 per second, which should be plenty. The numbers are going to get harder to judge as we move like further down the chain, because these guys up here aren't necessarily going to be producing at their full capacity all the time. So that's something to consider, but hopefully it's not a huge issue. Also, these guys don't have productivity modules, so the jump from the speed modules isn't going to be as high, actually. So that might be a problem. We're going to probably need even more of these guys then. So let's just, like, get you, I don't know, expanded just all the way up to there. And I don't know why you didn't get anything other than that copy-pasted, but I guess we'll just have to do this part manually. So you get all that stuff in, and you get an inserter there. And that should be everything. And then we also need a power line up here, which will get that guy going. So now we have all these guys, and that should increase our supply of accumulators. And we are getting a full-ish rocket, and this isn't even like halfway here yet. So that's looking nice. So once we get to the point where like we're sending full rockets every time, then we can kind of stop worrying about it. Fulgora support. You are just going to do your thing. And you're going to make it your way over here, and then it'll all be fine. So these guys are now all working. This top one needs speed modules still. But I think we shouldn't necessarily even need it. It looks like this backup. Yeah, it looks like that's backing up, so we should be fine. And also, this is backing up, so we should be extra fine. So yeah, now we have the ability to very easily launch full rockets of electromagnetic science. And we can just let this whole thing back up and only output as needed. That shouldn't be a huge issue. Now we've got our science. And it's all looking good. Yeah, the accumulators are backlogging. The green circuits we might need more of now that we've added all these guys on. So we need how many green circuits? Like 5-ish, 5 or 6, just at a glance, and this is only doing 2. Okay, let's hopefully just one beacon in there, and then we need to keep in mind that this is going to slow down a lot because none of these guys actually need to produce anymore. So that'll be helpful just to keep things on track, but it shouldn't be overall necessary. And EM Science is now completely secured, which means we can go up here and stop you from doing that, just so we don't have this stuff getting sent into rocket silos up here with the automatic requests, because that could be a little bit more trouble than it's worth. So yeah, that just launched a rocket, and then we have this stuff prepping for the next one. And Fulgora support only asks for 1K at a time. So that should be fully sorted. So you've got all that, and then you're just instantly off. Okay. We do want a thing for the legendary red circuits. So we have that is greater than, let's say, 400. Just because we don't want to get into a position where this gets launched immediately, the advanced circuits don't have time to launch, and we just sort of miss a window. That would be awkward. So back over to here, this is filling back up. And it's just sort of filling as it goes. I wonder, we probably want to stockpile some of these and then stack insert them. We don't need a full chest stockpiled, but just like, you know, a couple rows, just so that we have enough stockpiled to fill multiple consecutive rockets if we need to. Because currently we don't have that ability. So now we get this going, and there we go. So that will just fill up the first one, and then slowly start producing on getting the second one done. So you make 14 per second, which is too much. And also we don't have the ability to make the wire for it, so let's get a speed module onto there so that the wire shows up. These guys are making more than enough iron plates, so that shouldn't be an issue. How much copper are we getting? We're getting... Oh, wait, that's just for the destruction. This is the copper sorting, and we have somehow accumulated too much plastic. I thought we'd done the math, and that wasn't going to be an issue. Oh, it's probably because of this. So, let's see here. We need to have the capacity to destroy the plastic as well, basically. So, we get a splitter on here, which is output priority right. And then this belt can go over here and then just sort of go into this somehow. This is kind of extraordinarily cursed, but it's fine. No, not like that, because you need to not go into both of those. You need to go like that. So then this will destroy any excess copper or plastic, whichever one happens to exist. And this does mean we are going to be churning through our low density structures at a constant rate, regardless of what else is happening. But that's probably fine. And I wonder if we can actually fix that. So this is like the final copper thing. Okay, so I have an idea. We're going to have a combinator here. Decider combinator. Right there. You're going to fill from that. I can't quite reach. Okay, so you can just go up. And then you feed information there about what's on this copper belt. And you are going to be read belt contents hold. And then we have the same setup over here on this plastic belt, which just goes directly in. And you are read belt contents hold. So this combinator will be if copper is greater than 0 and plastic is greater than 0. So this is going to output a signal if we have plenty of both. Right, so currently we've got plenty of plastic and plenty of copper. And if that's the case, then this sends its signal down. I guess it can hop on to there. And you are going to be enable disable on checkmark is equal to 0. So if we're short on either plastic or copper, then one of these two will fail, and then we'll let things through the recycler. But if we have plenty of both, then we won't have the recycler run, and that will save us our low density structures. Okay, so now this is all going, and you have no shortages currently. So you're just running along as intended and filling up our extra box. And then we look up here, and this is also running as intended and giving us all of our advanced circuits. Okay, so I think things are working properly now. Now, transport platform still hasn't gotten any productivity modules. We're going to need to, at some point, figure out what's causing that and fix it. By the way, how's Vulcanus doing? We have these guys going. And we have, I guess, a little bit of legendary tungsten carbide. So that's nice. So then this is working. It looks like it's mostly successful at clearing out all of the excess green circuits. Although, it looks like there is a bit of a problem, not a major one, but these are both putting onto the same side of the belt, which is causing them to buffer a little bit. So we're going to have you wrap around like that. And that whole thing is definitely within drone port range. Oh, and we can remove some of these extraneous drone ports, right? So I don't know if this is specifically what's causing the problem, but like if we get rid of most of these guys, then we're back to a position where we don't have like 10 drone ports in a row anywhere. And we still have all the same coverage. If we need to do massive construction here, it'll be slowed down a bit, but that's fine. And so now, these are putting on both sides of the belt, which means that this will be able to better utilize its space. So that's all set up and good. So Fulgora support is here. We could just settle for like these 50 epic productivity modules, I guess, in the new setup. But I really don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. So, back to Novice. What is the problem with this? Why do you not get the red circuits? Oh, because this is filtered to be 5. That's probably what's causing it. So we're going to set that to be like 200 instead, which is, let's see, I imagine that's 200, and this one is 200. So now they're all even in their red circuit demand, which means we should get more productivity modules now, assuming the biter eggs allow it, which they seem like they do. We pretty much always have a good chunk of them on hand. And these laser turrets are doing some good work keeping those guys under control. Bioflux supply is still going fine. Don't fully... This is kind of a weird way of having this set up, but whatever. If it works, right? And it seems to have been working this whole time. So I'm not going to worry about that. That looks functional to me. So now when we get red circuits through, they should mostly go up here. And that should help us get more productivity modules, which should be pretty helpful. And we're just a couple productivity modules short of this setup being fully functional. And once that happens, then we can add the new setup in. So we can actually like paste this onto an island somewhere and get it built. And then that will very slowly start to accumulate its modules. We probably have like a decent quantity of the quality modules all set up and ready to go for it. And then it'll just be a question of the productivity modules. So this is starting to pick up some supplies. Just random odds and ends mostly. And this is doing well. there's still a lot of drone traffic across this way. So what are these guys doing? Oh, they're delivering legendary circuits and such into our legendary recycler construction. That's fine, I guess. So that is just gonna happen regardless. I guess we can shift this over to be somewhere closer if we wanted to, but it's not super urgent. And this whole area is mostly just fine at this point. By the way, how's power going? We had a weird dip there. What was that? Did that correspond to anything in particular? So what, that was 2 minutes ago? I mean, we can see the accumulator spike there. And there. So what was that? It was... doesn't seem to have been anything unusual there. The fusion generator tailed off before the lightning collector started up? Is that real? Or does that just always happen? Okay, that's weird. Fusion generator is going fine, right? There's nothing going wrong with you. But yeah, we can even see like the steam turbines picked up there for a second. What's that all about? These guys... Okay, we're not generating that much plasma here, so this is sort of the same thing as on Vulcanus, where we have just sort of half of the setup, so a lot of these guys aren't running. And okay, so now we're back into lightning collector mode, obviously. Fusion generator mostly turns off for that. And while it's off... Oh, I see what's happening. So while it's off and not running, these guys all fill up with plasma. And so then when it starts, there's more fusion power available than there ordinarily would be. Okay, because we're just going to keep expanding this place up, right? So let's just grab you, flip you vertically, and not whatever that was. We rotate you vertically, and you get placed in at an angle like this. And why are you not lining up? Oh, do we need to also rotate you horizontally? Okay, so if we put you in like that, and then make sure we're not missing anything super important and that we're overwriting. I think we're overwriting some lightning collectors, but that shouldn't be a huge issue. So now all this stuff gets built. Oh, we're going to need that drone port, probably. Get a drone port in there. This whole area is covered anyways, though. So it should be fine, although we do need it for that stuff. And we might... Wait, something is wrong here. You got overwritten. Can't have that. That's obviously necessary to have. Okay, what else? Is there anything else in here which is going to be a problem? It all looks fine. It's all getting built. Nothing is saying that it's missing yet. So we need the drone port over here. And let's just get it just sort of over there, just to get more general coverage on this island if that becomes necessary. So we're going to need to get fluids into the cryogenic plant to get this started. And we might break the power grid in the meantime. So that's a little bit awkward, but it is what it is. once this all gets set up, it should be fully functional again. So yeah, now we're in lightning collector mode, so power grid's not going to be a concern. And that's just going to fill right back up. Now we just need to get the coolant in for this second half. The first half is all back online, so that should be fine. And there's just a massive spike in demand from filling up the accumulators, but now we're back down to normal. And you've gotten your first wave of fuel. But we're apparently out of fuel now. So that's concerning. You are requesting fuel, right? Yes, you have a request for 50 fusion power cells and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that should last, right? It should easily last until the next batch comes around. And then we should have way more power for the next time. So this is, it's got a bit of fluoroketone and it's just sort of going. So that's going. Fluoroketone hot flows in there, and this can start turning it into coolant. That should get this whole thing fixed right back up. Alright, so power supply is up and running. Nothing to worry about there. And then, is this still going? Yes, this is still going. I think it's probably fully stable. Like, it hasn't broken once in a very long time, so if it isn't fully stable, it's extraordinarily close to it. So that is all good. And it's producing a whole bunch of advanced circuits. And then back over to Novice. We have another wave of 400 some headed back there. And our productivity modules here. We're still low. We're still low. It's this guy takes up 1.37. So it's actually the module ones, which are like the biggest single demand for red circuits. Although we need some of them for the others as well, and obviously some blue circuits which need red circuits. But that should all be fine. So the blue circuit supply is just fully sorted out at this point. The plastic supply, actually, we have plenty of legendary plastic. So it is just literally the only thing we're missing are the legendary red circuits at this point. So that's good. We've got 1,000 legendary plastic. How is this coal patch down here? It's rapidly depleting. But that's fine because we don't super depend on it anymore. We do not really depend on that much anymore at all. Although I do still want to make use of it a little bit, maybe? I don't know. I think it should be fine without that. Like, so none of these guys are making red circuits at all anymore. And I wonder if we do just get like a... If we just get like a passive provider chest here so that we can just grab some off of this. So what we would need to do is we disconnect you and we run that belt down like that. So then you... That's not how that works. You get swapped to a requester chest. And that requester chest will request in the red circuits. Then you get swapped to a passive provider chest. And those get flipped around to point up this way into that new passive provider chest, which I'm sure will be delivered any second now. Yes, the requester chest is in, and you just need an inserter. So this should make use out of our legendary plastic again, and hopefully get some more modules produced in the short term. So this requester chest then will request like 20. It's going to request not many at all red circuits, so that the actual modules themselves are the priority. So now this is going. We have hundreds of legendary red circuits. Those should get delivered up here and make us our modules. And they'll also be delivered down here as well, of course. So transport platform has 4 legendary productivity modules. We need 6. We also apparently need 1 epic productivity module. Let's just I happen to know that Fulgora support just carries those for some unrelated reason. So where did I put this? There it is. So we go into here, and we're going to add in epic productivity modules, 5 of them or something. We don't need many, just a couple. So Fulgora support is also here, so that's going to be another big solid supply of modules for this. And how many of these do we even have? We have 318 in logistics, and we have a big solid chunk on these belts. So that is all working. And yeah, we're pretty much just at the point where we kind of just need to let things cook for a bit. But we are making serious progress on everything now. So that's all going. These green circuits are being used again, which is always a positive. Gotta get some value out of those, otherwise they're just purely wasted. And our red circuit supply is going to last as long as this plastic supply does, which is not terribly long, but still should be pretty cool. Alright, so this is chipping away at things. Just chipping away at things. We have enough modules to finish off what we're requesting on Fulgora, so we're going to send those over, and then we'll be able to declare this 100% done. Although it might be jammed. No. It seems to have gotten very, very close to being jammed, but then unjammed itself. So that's what the longer snaking belts on the updated version are going to solve, but obviously we need 20 trillion different modules in order to actually make those, so that'll be a little bit. And this is still looping through and seems to be working nicely. And it looks like we're actually having some difficulties here just using most of these plants at all. Because the green circuits coming through just get immediately absorbed, but that's fine. That's another problem that our updated factory should solve. So I think we're going to wrap up for the day. So we've made nice, solid progress. We've got the module production humming along again, and hopefully that will catapult us in so that next stream we can start building this mega module factory, and then that will have us going super well. But yeah, so that's about it. I think we're going to wrap up here for the day. Thanks, Ev, for hanging out. I will be streaming Satisfactory tomorrow, where we might finish the game. We probably will have at least one more stream after that. I'm not sure, though. So we might finish the game tomorrow in Satisfactory, so if you're interested in that, make sure to stop by then. Otherwise, we'll be back here in Factorio on Friday, as usual. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, so if you're interested in any of that stuff, make sure to stop by then. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks, Evan, for hanging out, and I will see you guys